damn. I was like, what's going on? Why it ain't going live? What's happening, StreamYard? Don't y'all know it's me, Key Lolo? Y'all know what time it is. Y'all know what time it is. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is our 50. Let me just say this first. Cheryl said we're already halfway through 100. So technically, we're at one again with the 5 in front of it. This is our 51st episode. So welcome to the dopest podcast in America, the dopest live stream. We're talking about America's, the world's favorite live stream and podcast about hair. We're talking about the dumbest shit, and we do mean the dumbest shit that black people say about black hair. And we got a funky dope topic today. It's all about exactly what is a cosmetologist. Last week we talked about a natural hairstylist, so we said, well, it's only befitting that we talk about, well, what is a cosmetologist? So think about that. But as you guys wait to come into the chat, we have our very own, right? That's right. We have our very own theme song by Rachel Evans. So it's called Sister, Let Me Do Your Her. Okay, let's hear it as we wait for some folks to come on through. What's up, BFF? Atlanta coming through. What's up, Rashida? Since you're the only one in the chat, I'm gonna go ahead on and serenade to you. I know you're about to play kickball, but I got you, BFF. That's my BFF, Rashida. Here we go. Matching today.
We are.
Yeah, that's what we do. Hey. Let me do your hair. I need a Mercedes so I can. Hey. And let me do your hair. Let me do y'all her. Come on, y'all. Come on through. Get y'all Kool-Aid. Get y'all Kool-Aid. You know, get y'all little wine and come on and hang out with me and Cheryl today. And we're going to be talking about I see you, Rashida. Rashida like this. I see you, Rashida. Let me do your hair. Got that Corinne Bailey. A little floetry, just a little bit of floetry. I hear the old school, just a little old school Minnie Riperton-esque. Yeah. Y'all know about Minnie Riperton.
You don't know about
Minnie Riperton, the most beautiful songster. Hey, you feel special? Because you know I done flew to Atlanta to do your hair. You know I have. And you done flew to Cleveland to let me do your hair. So I have to serenade to my best friend because this is what best friends do. Hey.
That's right.
All right. Hey. Boom. Uh-oh. Boom. I guess I would not make a good DJ. I know. Speaking, don't be shaking your head like that. Y'all know, did y'all see that? This is my PNC. If y'all want, that's my PNC right here. That is the one and only Cheryl Morrow. Talking about some dope singing. You know what I'm saying? I can't be DJing. But speaking of DJs, I had a wonderful opportunity this morning to present to the, magnificent future of cosmetology at the Interstate Beauty School located in Lyndhurst, Ohio. Their estheticians were there, cosmetology students was there, and this was hosted by Miss Robin and Ephraim right here in Cleveland, Ohio. I can't think of Robin's last name, but Ephraim Abdullah, and it was just a wonderful presentation. And so I just want to give a super duper 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 shout out to Ephraim and Robin, and of course to the Interstate Beauty School students. But there was one famous, world famous DJ was in the house. So they had different presenters. And if you're from Cleveland and I say his name, you're going to be like, oh my God, was he really there? He was really in the house. He's always been good looking. It was the one and only, the legendary DJ Johnny O. The Cut J.O. was in the house. And if you are from Cleveland and you know who Johnny O is, you probably would sweat out your hair. You probably got a couple of kids off of Johnny O. You know what I'm saying? You probably became a hairstylist, busting hip hop because of Johnny O. So big ups to Johnny O. We have a wonderful show tonight, and we're going to dedicate this one to the future students of cosmetology over at Interstate. And because this topic this evening is going to be, answering and explaining, what the hell is a cosmetologist? We hear so many negative things. Like every time I go live on the other platforms, do you want to know what's the number one thing that comes up about cosmetologists? Like when I used to go live, people were ready to ask me questions about hair. Not anymore. That was maybe I'm going to say up into the past 2 years. Okay. So I go live a lot. Y'all know me. I go live. I go live so much, Cheryl. Say, how much do you? Let's try this again. I go live so much.
How much do you?
That when I go into the grocery store, people be like, you that lady, you that social media lady. Now you need to keep your ass off social media when strangers walk up to you. Now, if Danny walks up to me, Cheryl, well, that's a whole nother conversation. You know what I'm saying, Danny? You walk up to me any old time. It don't matter, But anywho, that's how much I'm on social media. So what happens is that this question always comes up about cosmetology. Now, I can't speak to barbering because I don't have my barber license. So I can only talk about what I know. And maybe we could get Waverly to come on and talk about barbering, okay? Waverly would get us together, okay? And so they ask, how come y'all don't watch hair anymore? Yeah. Anybody else? Have you heard that, Cheryl? That cosmetologists, hairstylists, or whatever, that we no longer shampoo hair. Have you heard that? Yeah, Cheryl. She's not acting behind the chair, but let me tell you, that statement or struggle is very real.
I don't know what to say. I think that's a faction maybe of hairstylists.
Yeah, but my response
that would not, but that would not be a cosmetologist, right?
No, them natural hair people. We keep telling y'all. We got us some commercials. Y'all want to know why we have commercials? Because we got a summit, right? So we officially got us some Afro Hair Summit commercials that was produced by none other than, not Scott LaRock. No. Not written and produced by Scott LaRock. He's in hip hop heaven, but no, produced by none other than Cheryl Morrow. So let me put a clip for you guys in the spirit of what is a cosmetologist. So we're going to hop right into that topic, but first, let's give you guys a little teaser about the Afro Hair Summit that it is officially going down in Cleveland, Ohio, Monday, July the 17th. We're working on that website. So let me just play this little commercial for you guys. Daddy, this one's for you. Here you go. Here we go. Oh yeah! Hey! Come on, black people! This is the hair that I grew up with.
Because black is beautiful, baby.
Afro was a statement of power.
Mr. Morrow says the Afro comb was the sixth man in the revolution. Go back into history, Afro also was the most diverse worn hairstyle in the American beauty commerce.
So everybody's like, it's 4C, it's natural, you gotta put some water on it, you gotta stretch it. It's hair, for crying out loud. How do you guys like that one? It's coming. I'm telling you guys. I say this all the time. We've actually been invited on to the House of Consciousness. You guys go over to the House of Consciousness right here on the YouTube platform. This is where the pseudo killers hang out at, and so I'm really, really excited when the pseudo killers invite you onto your platform. I'm telling you right now, baby, you have arrived. So Cheryl and we are going to be the official pseudo killers in the beauty industry, because that Afro Hair Summit is overdue. Like I said, these are hairstyles. I know they got y'all thinking it's something different, but when we tried to say these, this is the perfect segue into cosmetology. I heard that, Danny, sixth man in the revolution. All right, AJ, what's up? I see you in the chat. But this is the perfect segue into a cosmetologist. So we're gonna just kind of get that out the way. But this is one of those hairstyles that they're saying cosmetologists can do them with license, but natural hairstylists don't need any license, and they don't have to do them. So let's just hop right into let's get technically speaking. So Cheryl, let's give them. We doing good, Miss AJ. When you say AJ, you know what comes next, right, Cheryl? You ready, Danny? You ready for them bars, Danny? What's up, AJ? I hope you old enough to know up in the Bronx where the people was fresh. It was Run DJ, and he passed the test. He was down by law, and he was ready to play. That's right, y'all. His name is AJ. What's up, AJ? They don't know nothing about that. I don't know about the Curtis Blow, all right? I had to do that for them. AJ, every time you come in the chat, I can't help it. I'm old school. So AJ has a whole nother meaning for me. The other people might be like, that's Ann Jeanette. I don't know. Okay. Anywho, so Cheryl, let's hop right into it. Come on, tell the people what the hell is a cosmetologist? And on that note, I want you to add, how do they differ from a hairdresser, a hairstylist, or a beautician? Men like to call us beauticians. I don't know why, but men always refer to cosmetologists as beauticians. So first of all, what is a cosmetologist? Because some people are like, these are just people who do hair. Hairdresser, beautician, hairstylist. What's the difference in your opinion? Okay, so hit them up, y'all. We about to break it down. What is a cosmetologist?
I don't know if most cosmetologists probably do not realize that the word cosmetology is a root word for cosmos. And I think if you look it up, Google it, first of all, you got to Google the etymology of the word. You literally have to put this whole thing in. The etymology, I think it's ETHOMOLGY. Etymology of the word cosmetology. Not to be confused with cosmology, but cosmet. Okay. Anyway, you got it.
Mm-hmm. All right, hold on, y'all. Y'all You know, Cheryl. See, I thought she was gonna say something. Y'all like that? We like Cheryl. Those should be all ghetto and shit. You know, Cheryl. She be bringing the knowledge. Okay, so cosmetologist. Okay.
I say cosmetology.
Oh, cosmetology. Okay, and let's go with meaning. All right, that's how we end up with the word. So okay, so here we go. It says cosmetology. Am I picking like choose like no.
Well,
It's the
it, it's
go
it's
ahead.
it's it has forms in Sanskrit, Latin, and Greek. That's how the process of how Europeans create their words in terms of language. But it is called metakos, cosmeticos, or cosmetos. But anyway, but it is to alter, to beautify, or to adore, or to create, to build. Actually, it's a word that belongs into cosmology in terms of geometric shapes and things of that nature. Cosmos is how something is. Cosmet is how the study of form and shape and patterns and things of that has nothing to do with beauty.
Mm, what? Come on, Cheryl, quit playing.
It doesn't.
Oh my God. Okay, keep going.
But
Okay.
however, but
Uh-huh.
however, it is a good word for those who take on the liberal art of beautification and adornment. And but as you know, it has been shortened and cut off to mean a beautician.
Hmm.
And that's why there's no word priors to that's why barber is also a colloquial term. It's not, there's no real long lineage with the word barber. It is tonsorial. That's the word that goes further into most dialects as you get older in or earlier in the chronological periods. Anyway, but when it comes down to just the mere beautician thing, that is a modern term.
Mm.
But I will say that tonsorials and or barbers, as you can say, or hairstyling, hairdresser, they were called either a tressus. You can call them. Um, they also the French has a larger library of words for people who do beautification. They
Mm.
But let me just say this: it's a very good question that you brought forward, because once you get down into cosmetology, cosmeceutical, or cosmetic surgeon, or cosmetic, you do get into a broader field. Which I think that if beauty schools wanted to get more broader, the cosmetology is covers all of the arts. They should all be taught, because once you get your cosmetology license, you should be able to do a lot more than we actually do, because of course
Mm-hmm.
that was no term.
Mm-hmm. So, so let them know what else do cosmetologists do. Like people think that this is a license for people
Right.
to do hair, but what else do we do?
It's the whole spectrum. So it's not just hair, it's feet, it's nose, it's lips, it's eyebrows, it's eyelashes, it's fingernails, it's perfume, it's formulation, it's design, it's actually fashion as well.
I ain't got no clothes now. I was ready for the other stuff.
That, right. It covers massaging. It covers obviously hair loss. It covers everything from the cranial all the way down to the feet.
Yeah.
Um, also, that's why cosmetologists also make great consultations. So the Afro Hair Summit is to bring us back into all of an understanding of all of those art forms, all of those things that make a person feel good. We were not only just consultants, we were, fashion consultants, everything that had to do with all seven of the arts. We're poets. We're also singers. We're anything that has anything to do with the finer things of life. I tell people all the time when God said, "Let us make man," He was talking to cosmetologists.
Oh, did you hear that? Okay, now I see Danny y'all in the chat talking about some tonsorial art. What? Now you know from the projects. Now don't y'all get mad. Don't get mad, Daddy. I'm just telling the truth according to proof. What is about some tonsor like tonsils like tonsorial? What is ton? Help us out. New word for the day. Tonsorial artist. He said that yes, ma'am. His barber instructor used the term tonsorial. So let's digress a little bit over what is a tonsoralist or whatever.
You didn't Google it?
No, I don't be liking Google. I like you and Danny since y'all so damn smart. Okay, hold on, wait a minute. Go ahead, hold on. Let me look it up right quick. Hold on, don't cook it up. Look it. I hear you, Danny. Don't cook it up. Look it up. Okay, tonsorial. It's related to hairdressing. That's what it says. It says tonsorial is related to hairdressing.
Right. Also, make sure that you understand that there is a split in this conversation because our global experience in cosmetology is not our American experience. So after you get into the 20th century, our skill sets as tonsorial artists and barbers, all of that went into livestock. It wasn't applied to us until we could get into our own separate barbershops and our own separate businesses that we began to beautify and create our own style and aristocratic.
I'm sorry, you messed me up. I'm sorry, you got to go back. What did you say about livestock? Hold on, wait a minute. I heard of Woodstock. Okay, I heard of Coachella, but go back a little bit. Hold on now.
Livestock.
Take it from the top. Livestock, hair.
Right.
I'm confused. Right.
Yeah, but there's a great divide between what we were doing in our cultural, biophilic, natural ethos and our natural habitat in terms of before or privately pre-slavery or pre-Atlantic slavery, right? So when we got here, us having a connection to cosmetology or any type of beautification skill sets, they were not deployed into businesses. They were on the plantation towards livestock. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. But I see we got 3 smart people in the house. AJ ass as smart as y'all. Excuse me, you smart people, because AJ like, yes, tonsure has to do with cutting hair. And there it is. Now see, when you look things up again, so it says, yeah, or related to barber or the work of a barber. So cutting hair. Thank you, smart AJ, smart Danny, smart Cheryl, and intelligent Kilo. Okay, grooming the animals. I'm with you. So you're saying that before we got to this hair thing that we were into, would that be like animal husbandry or something like that? Or
no, it is preparing. Put it this way. Let's say you have Black men were the first jockeys, horse jockeys, right? And it would be our creativity to braid the tail of the horse and prepare the horse to be groomed and to look beautiful. To apply oil on the saddle, all of those things that Europe was introduced to, but they introduced it and applied it really into livestock. Why they didn't employ it on themselves first is their whole history of that, and it's kind of hard to talk about, the our beauty process, because our beauty process is out of the continental Western world. Here, our introduction into beauty is on livestock and taking care of that we didn't have time, generally did not have time nor commerce businesses at the start of 20th century, at the beginning of 20th century. If it was not, had been not for, Annie Malone and earlier beauty culturists who created the actual vocation, because the vocation came before the commerce. But anyway, but you guys get the point.
Wow, man. Okay, all right. Now you see, this is why this is America's, and the world over, favorite live stream and podcast about hair. Surely we have some intelligent people in the chat. Miss AJ said, yes, most people don't know that Black folks, were in fact the original jockeys in America. Boy, I tell you, my mother, every time I would go to school and say something like, oh, such, my mother would say, oh, Black people invented every damn thing, so oh, rest in peace, but I guess you were right. Thank you so much, AJ. I am learning something new today. This is why we are here, because I have never even heard of that before. So now I hear you talk about, France a lot. So let me share with you guys. This is the perfect segue. So cosmetologists are people who do from head to toe beauty. We are not just people who do hair. Okay. So here is a clip of what a YouTuber had to say about where you can go and learn about the study of your hair, your skin, and your nails. And it kind of matches. Now, Cheryl never knows that I do these things. So I'm just amazed at how, God just keeps making sure we work this out. But here we go.
Today, I'm going to tell you top countries that provide cosmetology degrees. So first, we have France, which is widely regarded as the birthplace of modern cosmetology, and its schools are known for their rigorous training programs and emphasis on the artistic and creative aspects of the field. Second, we have Italy, which is home to some of the world's most renowned fashion and beauty schools, and its cosmetology programs are highly respected in the industry. Third, we have South Korea, our favorite country, huh? Korea is a leader in the field of beauty and skincare, and its cosmetology schools offer students the opportunity to learn about the latest trends and techniques.
Wow! There you have it. Cheryl said it got its roots over in Paris. So how is it that no
European start of cosmetology, France.
What you talking about, Willis?
Right. Europe, colonialism was a period of time to go and look for these things. Now you have to remember, they weren't doing them prior to colonialism. Now, when the young lady,
I'm sorry, I'm like my
when the young lady was talking about it, that she's talking about 18th century. See, she's not talking to anything prior to that. Anything prior to that, Africa is the influencer. Anything prior to that.
Oh, wait a minute. I gotta talk like the people are gonna be watching this post live. Now, we're supposed to be talking about cosmetology, and here y'all Black folk go again. So you gonna try to tell me?
No,
you gotta tell all these listeners out here, sure. All these people. This is America. This is the world over's favorite podcast about hair. Are you good? Is this some of the dumbest shit that Black people say about Black hair? Or are you telling me that we're not considering hair before colonialism? And then we got Danny. You probably one of them Israelites. I see you over there, Daddy. You probably one of them, the 5%ers or what they call those new people, no, Aboriginals, saying that. Is that because the presence of the Moors in Europe? To be serious, I'm just being cynical. But take us through, because I mean, this is new for me too, and this is why we're going to have the Afro Hair Summit. So really help us unpack that a little bit more, so it doesn't come across as, we're moving away from cosmetology. We're making everything African/Black. And then you can answer Danny's question: is that because of the presence of the Moors in Europe?
Well, here's the thing. This is not about what culture we enjoy and we allow them to enjoy our cultural things. It's about getting the chronological time periods right, so you won't be talking about something you should not be talking about at the wrong time, because Europe does not have any original European beautification processes.
Tread lightly now. Don't get us kicked off of YouTube.
That has, well, it's in history. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, we don't even talk about European history that much prior to colonialism. We really don't talk about it. So white folks don't act like you talk about it. You talk about it when I got on the scene at that point. Because do you care about what we was doing prior to colonialism? You just ask a European. Do you know what Black folks? We were being left alone. That's what we were doing. We were doing whatever we were doing, fighting amongst ourselves too. Everybody did it. But my point is that when you get to the Moors, just to answer Danny, when you get to the Moors, you're getting to always go to cities, and you're talking about Carthage. Then, because that's about 300 different years in between Alexandria, and then you're talking about being allowed to come into the inner core of Africa, or you coming to the Nile Valley, or coming to Kush and coming to Ethiopia, and you got to make sure that those time periods are separate, so you can always know about what the real influence, because the European style of braiding and the other types of, when you see how the Europeans start looking after they've met Africans, right? Or in whatever region they are meeting them in, they take on the style. They do take on the look of that, because we're not also talking about the whole continent of Africa. When you're talking about Carthage, you're talking about Tunisia. And then when you're talking about Ali, you're talking about the upper crust of the Nile Valley, and you're talking about the tip of Egypt, which is Alexandria. So even those two areas are not the same Africa when you start going south. So just as long as we just keep that together. But that is why the European style looks different, because the influence of the Africans that were in Tunisia and Carthage did not look like the ones in sub-Saharan Africa. You know what I mean? It's just very hard to make sure that, and that's why we have to engage in a serious dialogue, because we're going to keep clamming it, and the people don't look the same. So when you do get the high collar Moorish look, or the Islamic look, that is the influence of the African in Tunisia, that they don't look like the ones in Alexandria.
Wow. This is one of the things that I love about our podcast, is that we really do specific things. Like, we take something that comes across as very broad, and then we break it all down, because typically a lot of people, I'm not saying, like general being over generalized, but sometimes when you say Africa, it does get like a blanket wash. So I appreciate you for breaking down that in different parts of Africa during different times, you had different looks, you had different contributions, and you also had different influences. And so when it comes to the Moors and what they had to introduce to Europe by way of beauty. Can you add just a little bit more? Because I just want to know, Danny, because I heard that Moors invented bangs. Someone there we have they were telling me that Moors invented bangs. So a little bit more on the Moorish influence. What did they do? Now we got to speak to beauty, so don't come add no other stuff. We can only do one topic at a time. It's about hair this time. So, do you know of any contributions that the Moors made, or gave, or shared? That's probably a better word about adornment, beauty, hygiene, whatever.
Well, I think one thing that is important to recognize when you start studying. When you studying in research is not just reading. It's looking, it's examining patterns, clothing, shapes, and so you can find a pattern. And the Moors is almost like saying a Sephardic Jew versus an Ashkenazi Jew, or a Southerner versus a Northerner when you talk about Black people. I was raised in the North, you was raised in the South. So even though that we are all dark-skinned complected, doesn't mean that we are basically the same. So there was probably much more factions of Black people, but the Moors, now, one is the peculiar thing about the Moors is that they didn't wear pants. So when Black men always want to talk about what men are this and men is that, and what, pants is a European design, and we all enjoy wearing them, but it's not African. So
I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry, Cheryl. Now you going just a little bit hand. I know. I see you, D Morrow. I see you, D Morrow, in the chat. AJ, we gonna get to your question. We digress just a little bit. I'm sorry, y'all. I went down a rabbit hole. I gotta say it again. What the hell you talking about, Willis? What do you mean? Come on now. What do you mean? After just right quick, y'all. Let me get it out my system. Y'all know Kilo Logo. I'm sorry, Daddy. I'm trying to be Miss Morrow, D Morrow. I'm trying to be good, y'all. Cheryl, what the heck is you talking about?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Africans didn't wear pants, but now you got me thinking. Anybody else got visions?
Y'all love to show Moors. Yeah, they wore frocks, skirts. Yeah, they didn't. No weak manhood around there. Clothes don't make the man. Anyway, we did digress, but
A good one. I'm telling this show be this little damn podcast. They better not ever put us on TV. Good Lord have mercy.
Well, I mean, but when you don't do you see pants on the walls of Kemet, Tarmac, Abydos?
Okay, I'm just gonna be honest, y'all. I ain't never even really thought about it, but now that you mentioned it, see, here's the thing, guys. Just rock with me. Just rock with me, Kilolo, because see, everybody in the chat, you guys are more educated, and this is why we need to have these. Because perhaps there are other people who are on my side of the fence, because I've never heard any of what you are saying, though now that you've mentioned it, it is true. But what I'm about to say is, as an African American, I struggle with that. We just did so much. It just seems like we trying to erase other people's stuff and put ours out there, but we actually did do this stuff.
Well,
Anybody feeling me?
But I know, but every time Black people say, and our people will, and our other brothers and sisters, our Italian brothers and sisters, our Polish and our Russian brothers and sisters, our Jewish brothers and sisters, you guys have to understand, that we don't always say, when we get about 30 and 40, mama knew everything. Mama, daddy knew every damn thing. Wish you could always ask your parents what to do, because they always knew what to do. But that's to say, but why are we so amazed how people can be on the earth 250,000 years prior to, and then they didn't do anything? I don't understand the dissonance with that. I don't understand. And I know that I don't understand the dissonance when you understanding that. But even Africans don't have this thing with their after populating the earth. They don't have this thing with, only do a little, don't outdo me. We don't have, the African in Cameroon does not have a problem with the African,
I got you. I just
what they, and I know it's a big thought, but what I am saying to you, if you pay attention to some of the things that we give to Europeans didn't start it. They didn't start skirts. That's an African fashion design.
wow. Well, this is what happens.
And an African was not the first one to make girls wear pink and boys wear blue. That's a European thing. But Black men, to identify themselves with that, think that if you are a boy and you wear pink, that's European. It is so cognitively dissonant. And so cosmetologists as a job must correct their communities on history. And I think that you said that's one of the things that we needed to talk about at the Afro Hair Summit, because if we don't get history correct, then we don't know where we're going. And we're going to have all these misconceptions, myths, and all these things, and folklore, colloquialisms, these things that are not true. And we're governing our lives by these things that are just have no place in them. Because once I talk about the history of relaxing, I got to talk to a room of Black men. They did it 10 to 15 years before women. So Black men that created it, not a woman that created it. Why would a man create a relaxer? Well, it wasn't in vogue, but it's because of chemistry. It wasn't in vogue at that time. But men wore Nat King Cole, Lionel Hampton, Duke Ellington, baseball, the Negro Leagues, all the Negro Leagues had process.
Okay.
But you see how it didn't turn into a whole racial and identity thing, and you're not loyal to being Black when Black men did it. So cosmetology, the information, schooling, it's not just for learning technical methods, but it's getting history in your history.
Right. Yeah. And this is important, because let me just show you that there are now. This is why education in cosmetology needs to be advanced. And AJ, this is the perfect segue into your question as we move into the future of cosmetology. And I like the way you brought all of this back into a full circle, because it is important that we bring history into the fold. As a matter of fact, the first statement that I made about the plight of Afro hair in America at my presentation this morning was that the deliberate, omittance or absence of the contributions of Africans and Afro hair should be at the beginning of every conversation. This is probably the most important thing that I have learned since you and I have become friends. And of course, you're always teaching me something. And to help change the narrative, we have to have the discussion, because when we look at things like this, let me just show you. So here we have stop deregulation of all barbers and cosmetologists in Michigan. So this podcast serves as a platform to help you guys understand your importance as a citizen. A lot of times we think of our powers in dollars, but as you can see here right now, your power is also in your ability to vote. And so you have a state, Michigan, where you have some lawmakers who are saying they want to deregulate. And here's a group of people saying you must stop. Let's look at what we got here. Look at Texas. Texas is getting rid of cosmetology license. So we're talking about Section 3, and they're in Texas. They're saying cosmetology instructors, they're going to just eliminate that license altogether. That's pretty deep. They're saying that you can teach cosmetology, but you don't need an instructor's license. We have Jennifer Gross. Look at the faces of the people who are introducing the bills to eliminate your natural hairstyling license. And I'm sure they are not aware of any of this rich history that these people who are going to be doing these services, they really won't be able to help change the narrative, because they'll have to rely on somebody on TikTok or Google or whatever, unless they go back to school to get more information, which is what we would like to see happen in all disciplines of cosmetology and barbering, is to get more education. But as you guys can see, America is pushing back on education. So what do you think about as other? You heard what the young lady said, that Paris was a good place. Korean is a good place. Italy. Why is America not coming out of that conversation as a forward thought thinker, forward leader in the world of cosmetology? And then we're going to use your father's pick as an example, and what that looked like back then for him to have invented his Dr. Willie Morrow pick. So can you talk about those two things? So first, what's happening in America that we're not amongst the elite? And then two, take us into how your dad doing that, because I'm sure that was a very unconventional idea. He was talking about putting something on top of a blow dryer that for years it was fine just the way that it was. So this one's dedicated to you, Miss AJ. So take us away with those two school of thought, Cheryl.
The West is what stayed in Europe is very old Europe. And very old Europe doesn't quite have the same ethos as the British. Okay, British and Dutch and German. So the more you stay east, you know what I mean? You stay a lot more core traditional, probably traditional Europe, which is traditional African, right? And so there's a little bit more of a relationship with Africa or with blackness, curliness. It's much more richer and it stays closer to home. With Europe, Europe stays very close to their African influences, put it that way. When you get west, it's a whole erase, like total. It's almost like one of my African mentors of African history. Her name was Luana Hood, and she would always say, "Pay attention to the colonizer in their ethos." Like you deal with, the French, and they have different ethos with their migrant children, and their, it's just a whole nother principle. But when you get west, you're getting to the British, and you're getting to a harsher, hard line, very, they don't have any Eastern influences in their culture. So the West, the United States, kind of, it's lack of Black influences. They don't want any African culture. They don't have any Eastern kind of savory seasoning to their roots in their cosmetology field. So it's plantation. It's very staunch, very wrought of. It's almost like when you go to London, they're not known for their food. They're not known for any other influences on their culture, British culture. So we just kind of got the remnants. And then you don't touch black people until you have touched them on the plantation or in their real segregated communities. So we're doing things, you know what I mean, in our cosmetology, in our salons, our shops. We call them
So
shops.
are you
We're
saying that? I'm sorry for cutting you off. Excuse me, guys. So are you saying that the push? Let me just bring this up just to kind of help this make a little bit more sense. So lean over a little bit that way, Cheryl, so they can see. So you're saying that when you look at these lawmakers, uh, um, and their push to pull back, because this is happening across America. So are you saying that this is basically a historical practice of Americans in power that we just don't like to move
Yeah.
forward
It's just
on?
about money. It's just about money. You notice that America doesn't do things in a very kind of sophisticated way as the French or as Asians do. They don't. There's no traditional roots into it. This is business. This is rights. This is sanitation. It's real. And so that's probably why we are not thought of as a very cultured, sophisticated beauty culture in the West.
So,
And
now y'all don't laugh at me when I say this, but I'm gonna say it because I'm Key Lolo. Okay, Cheryl has nothing to do with what I'm about to say, but I'm gonna go ahead on and say it. So basically, what you're saying is Americans are just very missionary.
yeah, we we
We-
we we we, we inherited their reputation of what white people looked like before they became sophisticated.
Yeah, so we ain't switching no positions in America, if you know what I mean. Okay, it's just it's sorry guys,
Yeah.
but this is a very, and I get it now. This makes a lot of sense.
This is a
That
culture that
yeah, and when
doesn't
you
want black influences. We
when
don't
you
want
look
black
at
influences.
yeah, they don't look like they do any position switching here. That's some very
No,
missionary looking folks there. So
very
this
vanilla. Very
this
vanilla.
yeah, this kind of makes sense now. I hope you guys are following what we're saying here, because I was just like, why is America just not? So I guess I'm kind of romanticizing what I know. I'm just trying to tell y'all I'm sophisticated. I'm sophisticated. Okay. So, as you can see, we're trying to be very sophisticated when we're talking about the Afro Hair Summit, because we want to elevate and recalibrate an industry that, come to find out, this is something that we created here in the United States. Now, and this is not what I thought the conversation would go, but I'm glad that it did, because I was going to go on the superficial money stuff. But we're learning something a little bit more in depth. And Danny is telling me, get your mind out the gutter. And he likes this word much better, one dimensional. Okay, Danny, I got you, boo. Okay, all right now. Okay, so let's move over to Miss AJ's question about the future. So here we have your dad, right? And he has he was an outlier in his day. I'm most certain that surely he was, when he decided to move the industry along to address other issues that he was experiencing when it came to stretching Afro hair. I did not bring the pic. I'm sorry, guys. I should have brought it, but I didn't know the conversation was going to go this way. But anywho, so we're talking about your dad's Dr. Willie Morrow attachment, comb attachment. So walk us through during a time when everybody was just taking that comb, that blow dryer, and just blowing it dry, and just trying to, comb, brush, blow, brush, whatever, pick. And then your dad says, you know what? How about we put the pick on the blow dryer, and that'll make it easier. You're talking about a forward thought thinker. And I know people thought, fool, is you crazy? So take us through this Afro comb attachment, and what was that like? Because Jesus, man, I'm sure the blow drying companies were like, "What is this dude doing? What's this? What is this man doing?"
Well, two things. We were transitioning from the afro to the blowout. And because Dr. Morrow was a hairstylist and a barber, he understood that two areas were going to suffer. And that was the rotator cuff of the shoulder and the tendons in the elbow. And he created the blow dryer to make the mechanics of hair stretching and the blowout easier and fluffier. But he also understood that heat with bristles were a disaster. He knew that because you couldn't get the bristles dull enough on the tip to not slice the hair. So heat in a cylinder bristle, every bristle has an edge. That's why it makes it a brush. But when you that combination with heat, heat just by grooming livestock, of course, again, we were the best at it. That was not a good combination. Then he understood that in order to get the coil to flat out, in a hot comb, you needed it stretched, pre-stretched. Okay. So he understood that a heat with letting the hair go in between the teeth and slide through and blow heat through the hair and not on the hair was much more healthier. So even when you paddle, brush, or whatever, you still are putting heat based on to the surface, and you need to pull the heat through. So that was his latest design. He actually took his own combs and broke them and nailed them to the mechanics we already had with white people's blow dryer, and he just nailed it until he got the prototype, and then he created it in a material he knew that Asia and China would not copy. So he made his unbreakable and put it with vinyl, and then made it out of the Afro pick. See, the blow Mr. Morrow's Afro comb is out of an Afro pick, and then everybody else just copied. But he was not going to make an apparatus for heat plus tension without it being in the African design, which it was original in the first place. So that's what in a comb, and he didn't ever make a brush. Heat and bristles don't work.
AJ must have heard. AJ, I should have put it up first. She said brush and heat. No, well, the Dominicans gonna be mad at you, Cheryl.
Yeah, well,
I'm gonna tell y'all something, man. Listen here, I'm not
right. Well, let me just say this, and not just because it's hair, because straight hair can take that. The problem is that black hair, when it gets curlier, the strand gets flatter. And when you have flat strands, you have a front, a back, a side, and another side, and then a top. And when you slide that bristle through Afro textures, you're gonna be trimming at least 4 times extra a year, because you don't have to, because heat and bristles just don't work on Afro textured hair.
Yeah, I let me tell you, this is a great topic. I hope you guys are really starting to understand the full gamut of what we do behind the chair. Many of us really do pay attention. Now, I'll be honest, I don't think like an inventor like that. That takes a very unique kind of a person. But if you are a cosmetologist and a barber, or a barber like Dr. Willie Morrow, and you see something, because I mean, he had no engineering, all of the things that we would probably say, I can't do this. But as a barber, he really paid attention. So give us a little bit more as to some of the things that we should be doing, or maybe we're already doing these things behind the chair that kind of moves us along. So let's just say, for example, you said your dad noticed that when the hair with this brush, because afro hair gets flatter, that bristle brush and heat is like a no-go. For straight hair, it's good. For textured hair, that's not going to work. So he saw this I would say technique and this tool design that, well, we could do this if we change. So help everybody just kind of understand like some things that they might see, or just when they get that intuitive nudge. How does one do something like get a piece of paper and draw it out like your dad did, and take 2 drills, and help us a little bit more with that?
Mm-hmm. I think that becomes a behavior just from pure deprivation. I think that most of the things that we use in the 21st century and at the mid 20th and at the end of the 20th century came off the plantation. You deprive a people long enough, they will use scraps and create some of the best ideas, because you're still talking about a people coming out of colonialism. They had not really, settlers in the 13 colony that, hey, they don't know what to do. They just come in here, but you're having a people that already has been here maybe, for, a half a century, and have already, made do with, we didn't eat cornbread prior to the Western world, but cornmeal, extra, things just evolve. And when you are already coming here, and then let me just make one thing clear. I wanted to just make sure that we just don't say blanket words like I just said, colonialism or slavery. You have to talking about a very intelligent workforce, because these are not dummies. The people, you want to build a world, you go get a bunch of architects and engineers and smart people, and you don't go get dumb people, and so my point is that the ingenuity of a blow dry, you're talking about just putting a cup on the end of an afro pick, and even though the African did not do that, it's just the necessity of not having grooming tools and being able to do a process of elimination, and doing process of what we need at that time. And I just say that, cosmetology in the Western world is black cosmetology. That's what we had to do. So all of these tools and implements. Now, things, of course, like the curling iron. We never needed the curling iron. The curling iron came out of Europe. And thiol and permanent waving came out of Germany. So we all use each other's stuff and other races of people's ingenuity. But when you're talking about putting it inside of style and trend, making it a hairstyle, and then putting it method and putting things together so you can have an end result, black all the way.
Okay. I hope you guys are seeing that, because that comes up a lot. Africa, black people, like, what's the difference? As you guys can see, being over here in the United States as enslaved people who were taken out of what we normally did back at home, and now we're put here. And per Sister Nia Colby, what's happening, sister? She said necessity is the mother of invention. And so we were making our own way, doing very different things from our brothers and sisters and mothers and fathers over in Mama Africa, because we had a very different, unique set of circumstances. And boy, did we create some stuff. Miss Morrow says, can you please explain why the strand becomes flatter? Because she thought it was only on her hair. So just walk us through a little bit more about your explanation with the brush and the flattening of the hair, and then what your father saw. And I answer that, and then I'm going to tell you what happened here in the salon. Thank you, Miss Morrow.
Let me just say this: you cannot have. Let me put it this way: in order for hair to curl, it has to be flat. Okay, in order for hair to curl or coil, it must be flat. The straighter the hair becomes, the rounder the circle gets. But in order to have a coil, you must have a flat surface. Let me give you an example. When you run out of paper towel, what does the brown cardboard look like? It looks like a cylinder, but that's an optical illusion, because once you peel it apart, what does it look like? It's coiled. You cannot coil a cylinder because you'll deform it. But the curlier the prototype is, the flatter, because it only can coil if it's, and then you flatten the telephone cord out. It's the nature of the actual cord. Their fiber optics are flat. That's why curly hair gets straighter than straight hair, because straight hair is just a round cylinder. It's just straight. It's just straight.
Girl,
but
child.
There. So that's why. But when you look at coiled hair, because it has to be flat, what does a flat piece look like? It has a side, a front, a top, a bottom, and a top. So when curly hair grows and it screws its way up, that is one of the issues about teaching Black men how to shave, because that tip, because you have a front, a side, a top, and a bottom. You understand what I'm saying? Right. And when you stretch it out, it's flat. It has a top, a bottom, and a side, depending on how you cut it. Now, if you don't cut it correctly, you'll leave that tip, just like you do when you thread a needle. You want to cut that thread at an angle so you can thread it easier. The problem is once those hairs grow, they'll start sticking you in the skin, and they'll grow back inward. And that's why Black men suffer from ingrown, and other European men don't. But that's a whole other story. But my point is that that is why the flatness matters. And that's why Dr. Morrow said flat and bristles, because bristles, they're really round once you get microscopically on them, and they have a round edge. And then when you start going that, brushing or round brushing, doing all that, and then heat, the combination of heat, it's just not a good idea for Afro to go through that because of the flatness.
Wow.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's pretty deep. We got a few more minutes here. Thanks, Miss Morrow, because now I get it. I get it. But here's what I saw, to your point. So what we're saying to everybody who's watching up to this point is that if you're paying attention to things like Dr. Morrow, was doing in his day, and you see something behind the chair and you get that intuitive nudge, hey guys, go for it. Go for what you know. Grab that piece of paper, grab that tool, and just start tinkering away with it, because you never know. You might end up influencing a person like Ladosha, who'll do something crazy, like give up all her money and everything to pay homage to Dr. Willie Morrow, who made it possible for all of us to be able to comb our hair today, and will travel around the world and say his praises and spread the word that Dr. Willie Morrow's contributions matter. You never know who you might influence. So please, guys, follow your dreams behind that chair. And we hope you can see that, though Cheryl pointed out the poignant history of cosmetology, she stated we do hair, skin, nails, fashion, art, everything. but also we are inventors. There's no need to be ashamed of our past nor our contributions. So let's move a little bit more into the 21st century so that they can see. Here are some of the things that people are saying that's happening in the future of cosmetology. But what I noticed was that I was using a pair of flat irons, right, Cheryl? And so these were some $200. I'm gonna say the name. I'm gonna go ahead and say H2 Pro. So and these are $200 pairs of flat irons. And I noticed that when you flat iron the hair, it would just come out perfectly taut and smooth. Well, 6 months into my purchase, I couldn't explain it, but I could see and I could feel that somehow the flat iron was losing its ability to press down onto the hair. I talked to my distributor. I'm not even trying to put him down, but I'm just telling you guys what happened. And so he said he never heard of a pair of flat irons that no longer straightened hair. So he was like, you're the only person, because there's no way that this flat iron can lose its grip. Now, to us, this is really important, because if the hair isn't pressed properly, as you can see what Cheryl was saying about spiral hair, it will revert faster. So that means our customers are going to come back and say, what? My hair did not stay straight. So I explained this phenomenon to my customer, who was an electrician. And so what he told me was that there was a warp in the plate, and that I couldn't see it because when the current comes through that cord and hits that plate has to be the right amount of width and thickness to actually heat up. But these are now, you guys know these flat irons are so cheaply made. So when the heat comes through, it was microscopically warping the actual plate. So I wasn't going crazy. But so this is just an example that what Dr. Morrow saw, though I'm not going to be inventing no new pair of flat irons. I'm telling y'all, it's not going to happen. I'm going to go back and use Dr. Morrow's pick. You know what I'm saying? Why should I reinvent the wheel? But I'm just giving you that as an example. Please, please, please follow your heart behind the chair. Dr. Willie Morrow serves as an inspiration, and Cheryl is here to help carry forth the legacy on Monday, July the 17th, right here in Cleveland, Ohio, so that you guys can get a rich context of what it is to learn and know about Afro hair science, to help change the narrative so that you can be happier behind that chair. So someone has one more question. The formula of this curl or spiral is the basic formula used to construct all living things, a la like the shape of a DNA. Is there some correlation between textured hair? Is that what you're saying, Ms. Morrow? Is that spiralness of DNA and spiralness of hair? Is there some correlation between that type of spiral? I'm going to say shape because I don't know what the hell I'm saying. I'm just reading it. So is there any correlation in that? I know that's kind of heavy, but Cheryl, as Morrow said it, she said yes. That is in fact what she's saying. Yes.
Let me say this. That is a little too deep in order to go into right now. But I want you to understand that the DNA, yes. Let me just say yes. But however, I'm going to go into that at the Afro Hair Summit, so you will never be misguided on what that is, how that comes to be, why that happens to have the same shape as Afro textures. There is a reason why, but it's just really a loaded question. And it must be explained and demonstrated. But I will say, too, that in further Afro hair summits, because we can't cover everything the first time, we will be having an inventors workshop. So we can have, because of course, just because Mr. Morrow's not here in the body, we do have a consulting firm to get you guys from your ideas. And I'll be honest because I've never spoken to Ladosha about it, but my dream job is to go into salon interior design. That's
Wow.
my first love, and I've gotten pretty far with it. So I would love to expose people to the idea, and we need more ideas. And I think that is also the future of cosmetology education is
Mhm.
architecture, is design, and things of that nature. So,
All right,
but
that's good.
Miss
That's
Morrow,
good.
yeah, but Miss Morrow, I'm sorry, that is a loaded subject and it's kind of intense. So,
So the short answer is yes, you're onto something. The long answer is you'll have to come to the Afro Hair Science Summit on Monday, July
uh,
17th,
yeah,
right here in Cleveland, Ohio, to get an intro. Remember, we can't cover everything, and going to give you guys a snippet. We're not going to be able to do it virtually unless we get some more help behind that. But for right now, we just want to focus on in person, and then perhaps in the future we will definitely do something virtually. This is our first go round at it, so we just want to do a little bit more intimate setting. So we'll get over to that. But a little bit, let's segue over as we wrap this up, just so you can see some of the things that they are saying is happening in the future. So number one, in the world of beauty, we see smart mirrors. We also see plants are making a more presence. Usually it's flowers, but now they're going over into plants. You're talking about smart mirrors. If ever you are in the California area, please go over and check out Ted Gibson's Smart Salon. He has the world's first smart salon where everything is hooked up to your smart. Now that's pretty smart because when people come to the hair salon, the first thing they want to know is, what's your Wi-Fi? Can I use my phone? So Ted Gibson is definitely onto something there. So here is another one. Here we go right here. So this one is like a virtual reality that allows consumers to try before they buy. So as we can see, guys, you've got technology, you've got all types of cool stuff that's happening in the future of cosmetology. We're not just going to be doing your right. And then one last one. Oh, that was the same thing. Oh, that must have been the same one. Okay. All right. I think we've got it covered. Yeah. Okay, so we've got it covered. And so here, that's our Afro Hair Summit that's put together by Cheryl Morrow. That's an absolutely fabulous picture that we're trying to capture. Our goal of the Afro Hair Summit is to unite. We want to recalibrate, and we want to use the science of Afro hair to help change the narrative about how we look at all textures across the gamut, because Afro hair is the first texture, and no other person is very qualified to help us begin that discussion than Cheryl Morrow. My email address is ladoshaw@yahoo.com. And what kind of help do we need to make it virtual? I don't know, Daddy. I'm a hairstylist. I'm not a virtual person. But if somebody wants to take it on,
covered.
This is why we're here. But that's where we're at. So anywho, guys, we're going. Oh, thank you so much, Miss Clark. We're really we're going to be bold like Dr. Morrow. We're going to be bold, and we are literally, this is not a joke. We are appealing to the intellect of all licensed professionals. There is a beautiful world of hair shows. There's a magnificent world of trade shows. But where is the world of intellect? It is in Afro hair. So we respect all hair shows. We respect every trade show, and we do plan on attending them. But we're going to add to that palette, that abilities to learn, is going to be the Afro Hair Summit, and it's purely for the intellect. Our vendors are going to be only, authors and self-care stuff. So we really, really, really want to take this opportunity to bring together both cosmetology and barbering so that we can service the public a hell of a lot better, and we can do more things like Dr. Willie Morrow and all of those other inventions that I just showed you on the screen. So Cheryl,
We'll be having some nozzles, some blow dry combs at the Afro Summit.
Oh wow! Look. I'm gonna lose mine on purpose, and I keep saying this because people are talking to me like I know something. I'm gonna say it again. I don't know Jack Ruby. I will be in class. You know what? LL who said? LL said you want to hit give me an hour plus a pen and a pad. Listen, I'm gonna learn. I'm not. I'm not teaching. I repeat. I will not be teaching anything. I will be doing all the introductions, but Cheryl is going to be teaching us in 4 subject areas, and we're going to unfold some more. I don't want to give up all the juice, but that's what's happening with the Afro Hair Summit. Let me play this our commercial one more again. By the way, if you haven't, can you please go ahead on and hit that thumbs up button for us so we can get in those YouTube algorithms, and don't forget to share the show to any cosmetologist and barber because we got this jumping off. Oh yeah! Hey! Come on, black people! This is the hair that I grew up with.
Because black is beautiful, baby.
Afro was a statement of power.
Mr. Morrow says the Afro comb was the 6th man in the revolution. Well, back into history, Afro also was the most diverse worn hairstyle in the American beauty commerce.
So everybody's like, it's 4C, it's natural, you gotta put some water on it, you gotta stretch it. It's hair for crying out loud. All right, Danny caught that. 6th man in the revolution. You guys want to be some revolutionaries? You want to do something wonderful in your career? You want to meet some wonderful people from all over the Midwestern region right here in the United States? You want to fly in from another country? You want to come on out and check us out. So Cheryl, please be so kind to wrap us up with a school of thought about what it is to be a cosmetologist. And we really hope that you guys. Oh, did we lose you? Okay, we're back. Sorry about that. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. But anywho, so there we are. I'll say that again. If you want to be a part of the revolution in the learning of barbering and cosmetology, join us in July of 2023 so that you can get your comb. Because remember, that's that pick. That's the 6th man in the revolution. So Cheryl, take us out with a wonderful school of thought about what it is to be a cosmetology. What would you want people to know about this wonderful career? Let me just show right quick as you're gathering your thoughts on that. I'm just going to show you what they're saying that you can expect in the careers of. Okay, nope, that ain't it. Hold on, wait a minute. Must don't have it. Okay, so I thought I had my little clips about the jobs that was coming through, but anywho, so take us through about wrap us up with a summation about the career of cosmetology, and maybe segue just a little bit more about that Afro Hair Summit.
Mm-hmm. When we talked about creating the Afro Hair Summit, I wanted it to be built around the full 360 cosmetology career. And the only person I know that is that exemplary, the epitome of that. And I think when I explained and I am explaining to people that Dr. Morrow had the consummate career. You're talking about, just wanting to be a barber and then just barbering and then inventing jewelry. He went to jewelry, then he went to makeup, then he went to hair food, Then he went to men's shaving. Then he became an expert. Then he became the author. Then he went into hair care formulation. And then he went into to rollers again. And then he went into collecting, an author writing books, and then he went to being the consultant. That is how you use your cosmetology career. You can do everything. And the elevation process of retiring yourself from the physical sweat equity and becoming a consultant, becoming author, and becoming doing creating rugs and capes and towels and
Movies, because he did movies too and radio stations.
right. Just that is the core of what the cosmetology and the cosmos. It's the gamut. Here we go again. I know me and Ladosha, Miss Kilolo always talks about the gamut in cosmetology. Black is the gamut. That is what we're talking about. And so you can do anything inside of the cosmetology field. We want to bring that excitement back. And I'm going to bring it, y'all.
All right.
I'm gonna bring it. So bring your notebooks, bring your recorders, bring because you are not gonna remember. You're gonna get your mind blown, and we're gonna be real, true professionals once we leave.
This is very, very exciting. I would like to thank everyone again. We appreciate you so much for always rocking it out. Remember, on this platform, you are not followers, you are actually our partners, and we appreciate your support. You guys always rock it out. I mean, the chat never goes back down. Y'all get on and y'all stay on. So we really, 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 really appreciate all of the questions. We again remember to share the content. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. And then it was one last thing that I was going to say. I don't get old, but anywho, yeah. So make sure you do that. And I think, next week. Oh, that's right. Next week, we have to talk about conditioners. What's the difference between a conditioner? What's the difference between a leave-in? What's the difference between an instant? What's the difference between a treatment? So I was on TikTok. We're going to dedicate this one to all of the TikTokers. So TikTokers, this one's for you. When I go live on TikTok, I'm guaranteed 4,000 people in the chat. And today they wanted to know a little bit more about conditioners that, of course, I'm not qualified to answer. So we're going to go ahead on and dedicate next week all to conditioners. So get your questions ready. I think you guys are going to love this one. And we're going to give away some products, by the way. So we have lots of products from various companies here at the Reverend Design Team Hair Salon. By the way, we only use products that are made and formulated by licensed cosmetologists. We're proud to say that. We don't. If you're not one of us, we don't do business with you. And we're known for that. You're like, don't go in there, Ladosha crazy as hell. Yep, I sure am. All right. Okay, guys. Thank you so very much. You know what we say when we're always signing out, right? We're always talking about a whole lot of peace, a whole lot of love, and for sure, a whole lot of hair. But check this out. If you ain't got it, don't want it, can't stand it, you bought it, whatever, you got some bald patches. Y'all know we say, please don't worry about that. Don't worry about them bald patches and stuff. Because you know what? All of that stuff really is beautiful. And so are you. Thank you. We'll be back next Monday at 6 o'clock p.m. EST and 3 o'clock p.m. PST. All right, Danny. Deuces.